Impressive performance from rookie Jake Faria. And a 3-run blast from Tim Beckham, holding off the Baltimore Orioles 5-4. Today, right-hander Alex Cobb will look to continue his recent string of success. It's the rubber match versus the Orioles. This afternoon at Tropicana Field, the Rays will be looking for a series victory, dividing the first 2 games right down the middle, with the Baltimore Orioles winning last night 5-4 on the strength of a 5-run second inning. Hi again, everyone. Welcome to an afternoon of Rays baseball with Brian Anderson, Dwayne Stats. Good to have you aboard. We'll hear from Alex Cordry in just a few moments. Well, the Rays and the Orioles square off here. The Rays continue to be in this race. They are running 3rd in the East, a game back of the second wild card spot, and a crucial game here against the Baltimore Orioles. And what we've seen on display in this series, 2 of the top third basemen both in the field and at the plate. We're speaking of Evan Longoria and Manny Machado.
And these two have been putting on a show in this series, and actually going back, they've been putting on a show for a while. You know, Evan Longoria, you go back over his last 14 games, he's hit safely in 12 of the 14. You love the consistency, and he has put up these numbers right here. Way more aggressive at the plate right now. He sees a pitch that he likes, he's going right after it, and to the tune of a 345 average, 7 extra base hits, including the 2 home runs, and 8 runs driven in. And when you talk about the defense, this may have been a game saver last night, right here with the man on first base in the top of the 9th inning. He gets to that ball, starts a double play. That would get the Rays out of trouble, and obviously they would finish it off for the victory. Evan Longoria, one of the best with the glove. Here's another one, good with the bat and with the glove. And Manny Machado, the last 20 games, I'm going to tell you something, he's been swinging the bat with more conviction than we've seen in a while, to the tune of a 329 average, 4 doubles, 3 home runs. He's hit the ball extremely hard in this series off of Rays pitching, and this is just one of the many tremendous plays that he's made over the last couple of days. Maybe a play only he can make. Get to this ball and get enough on the throw to get the out over at first base. These are 2 of some of the best, and they're going to go at it for one more afternoon.
This afternoon, Alex Cobb will go to the hill for the Rays after his 9th win of the year, coming off a no decision. He's won his last 2 decisions. And Alex Cordry will have the breakout on Alex Cobb when we come back.
this Wednesday afternoon for Rays baseball on Fox Sports Sun, and Tampa Bay sends Alex Cobb to the hill, and he is looking to duplicate his stellar performance from Friday when he faced the Texas Rangers. Cobb's contributed nicely to the Rays' success this season. In his 20 starts so far, you can see that the right-hander has greatly improved in the second half of the season in several key categories of ERA, wins, and opponent's batting average. He's not allowing as many walks and hits per inning as in the first half. In his last 8 starts, he's found his groove, and Cobb looks to keep cruising.
With where we are at this time of the season, we always talk about getting the momentum going in the right direction, but stopping the momentum in the negative direction is probably as much, if not more, important than that. So, whatever happens tomorrow, before getting on that plane and getting on a real tough road trip, we need to walk away with a W. And me setting the tone early is going to be a key part of that.
So Cobb looking to shut down the O's in the series finale here at Tropicana Field this afternoon before the Rays hit the road. First pitch is coming your way next on Fox Sports Sun with Dwayne Statz and Brian Anderson with the call.
Rays and the Orioles this afternoon with Alex Cobb headed to the mound, making his 21st start of the year. Rays with a much-needed win last night. Cobb and the Rays had their eyes set on finishing the homestand with a victory before they hit the road with stops against the Yankees in New York and then a stop in Houston as well. Lineups presented by your Southern Ford dealers. The Orioles will have Adam Jones leading off again in center field, followed by Manny Machado. Jonathan Scope is the second baseman hitting third, and Chris Davis, who's been under the weather with the flu, back in the lineup. The cleanup man, the DH, is Mark Trumbo. Trey Mancini will hit sixth. He's in left. Seth Smith in right field. Caleb Joseph, the catcher, will bat eighth, followed by the shortstop Ruben Tejada.
Well, and in a game like this, Dwayne, I can't imagine another guy that you would want on the mound more than Alex Cobb, as he's out there now for the 21st time, an 8-6 record, ERA of 3.57 in 131 innings of work. I mean, he is one of those guys that no matter how the stuff feels, how it's coming out of his hand early, middle, late, he's going to do whatever it takes to give his team a chance to win, and that's exactly what the Rays need here this afternoon. Let's take a look at the defense. It's going to line up behind him here in this nooner, brought to you by Gold and Diamond Source. In the outfield left to right, we have Dickerson, Smith, and Souza Jr. And across the infield third to first, Longoria, Echeverria, Beckham, and Morrison, with Wilson Ramos behind the plate.
Well, here we go. Adam Jones stepping in against Cobb, making his third appearance of the year against Baltimore. And the first pitch of this game is a ball. Underway here. The wrap-up game of the series in the homestand. Andy Fletcher calling the balls and strikes. And that's a strike. 1-1. Well, Adam Jones has been a hot hitter with an 8-game hitting streak starting this one. 2 hits last night, 3 hits the night before in the first game of the series. Ground ball shortstop. Echeverria low, and it's scooped over there by Morrison. Nicely done on the receiving end.
Yeah, that certainly was, and Logan Morrison has been a stalwart over there at first base and making a lot of scoops, helping out his infield defense. And you see Echeverria, that ball right to the ear, and then just not enough on the throw, and it's going to end up short. That's a tough hop to handle too, and Logan Morrison makes it look pretty routine. Inexplicable. You don't usually see Echeverria that low with a throw, but you get bailed out, you move on to the next hitter.
Cobb already revved, getting that first out, knowing the importance of this one. They're all important now this time of the year. And here's Manny Machado. Foul out of play. Strike 1. Machado had a double his first time up last night. Singled his last time up, and in between had a sacrifice fly to center. After a slow start, starting to inch that average and his production in the right direction for Baltimore, wrong direction for the rest of the league.
Yeah, he's starting to swing the bat with conviction. You know, there were times here earlier in the season it looked like he was almost feeling for the baseball. The swings weren't nearly as aggressive as what we've seen, especially here in this series. A lot of hard contact.
It's a foul. Now 1-2. Buck Showalter, manager of the Baltimore Orioles, has this club right now 48-52. Buck in his 8th season as the manager of Baltimore, 3-time manager of the year.
I've got 3-2 odds that he slept here at the Trop last night.
I'd say you're right. Been doing that from the beginning. His first job with the Yankees. Close. There's Machado out of the way, and it's 2-2.
Well, a changeup that just got away from Alex Cobb, kind of squirted out, up and in. Fortunate it didn't hit him.
Jonathan Scope on deck. And a nice pitch right there. Strike 3 call. That knuckle curve. Machado looking back toward the mound.
Well, this is a pitch that has become a legitimate weapon for Alex Cobb. In the past, the curveball was something that he would use early in counts to get ahead, get strike 1, and then go to work with the fastball and the split change. But now, because of the split change not being where he wanted it, it has become a legitimate put-you-away weapon, and he completely fooled Machado with one right there.
Jonathan Scope. It's in a long way, but well foul. jumping on the first pitch fastball. That had some distance. Wow.
Up there in that second deck here at Tropicana Field. But Jonathan Scope, he has been getting pounded in by Rays pitching all series long. And he saw Alex Cobb do the same thing to Adam Jones, another hot hitter, in his first pitch. So he said, you know what? I'm going up there looking fastball middle in, and I'm going to put a swing on it. Those numbers tell you why you want to crowd it.
Strike dropping in. Breaking ball. 0-2. Liner into center field. Smith to his left makes the catch to retire the side. 3 up, 3 down. Bottom of the first coming. No score. Ubaldo Jimenez will make the start for Baltimore as he makes his way to the mound. 16th start of the year. And we'll take a look at the lineup facing him, presented by your Southern Ford dealers. Alex Smith leads off, followed by Corey Dickerson and Evan Longoria. Down the middle, Logan Morrison with Steven Souza Jr. hitting 5th, and Brad Miller, the DH. Wilson Ramos in the starting lineup hitting 7th in front of Tim Beckham. And Adeiny Echeverria hits 9th at shortstop.
Well, taking the mound this afternoon for the Baltimore Orioles, right-hander Ubaldo Jimenez. Appeared in 20 games. He started 15 of them. Record 4-6, ERA 7.19. And with Ubaldo, you're just never sure what you're going to get. We've seen him go out there and throw fantastic. We've seen other times it not go so well.
The pitch is a strike with Smith showing the bunt. Strike 1. Alex at 293. And an RBI single in that 5-run second inning for the Rays last night. Stays with the bunt, this time foul. 0-2. Tough pounding the last time out. In fact, if you break it out for Jimenez, the last 4 times out have not been overly successful, although he did get a win over Minnesota 3 starts ago when he gave up 4 runs in 5 innings.
Yeah, that ERA almost 10 over that span.
High pop foul, drifted toward the stands and out of play.
You know, and that's what we saw last night. You know, with Wade Milan, we had broke it out where his first 11 starts, he had a 282 after 11. The last 9 coming into play last night, the ERA was over 10. The last 4 starts for Jimenez, 9.95 is the ERA, and that's why this Baltimore Oriole team has just not been able to gain any traction, even though the offense is performing better.
1 ball, 2 strikes.
Starting pitchers set the tone. Ask the Rays. Been doing that for a long time.
You know, the Orioles had high hopes for Jimenez. He was 8-12 last year with a .544 earned run average. But he closed the season on a little rush. And they had hoped that that would carry over this year. 4-6 now with the .719, as you mentioned. Slow start last year, strong finish. Now after getting ahead of Smith, the count is full. Corey Dickerson on deck. A little piece of it. He stays alive, fouling it, bounding back to the base of the stands. Two starts against the Rays. You can see in April he struggled in that one, and then the last time out on the 23rd of June, a loss, and not any success at all there. Ground ball to Tejada short, handles that to get Malik Smith.
Let's take a quick peek at Baltimore's defense, brought to you by Golden Diamond Source. In the outfield, left to right, we've got Trey Mancini, Adam Jones, and Seth Smith. And across the infield, third to first, Manny Machado, Ruben Tejada, Jonathan Scope, Chris Davis over at first base, and Caleb Joseph behind the plate.
You know, when you go back to that start Jimenez made against the Rays here on June the 23rd, it was a lightning strike by the Rays. Actually, they got him for 9 runs, 65 pitches into the game. He lasted 2 1/3. Want to know the count on Dickerson?
Both starts against the Rays, he didn't do himself any good with the number of walks, you know, free base runners, and then the Rays weren't wasting any time getting after him, and any mistake he made got punished.
And 1 pitch biting down and in. Dickerson not in the lineup last night and back hitting second today. He's off the pitch that time, and it's 2-2. He chased it on the pitch prior.
Well, that's what teams have been doing with Corey Dickerson. You know, reluctant to throw him any pitches out over the plate for a strike because he's so apt to chase, to leave the strike zone with his swing. You see another one right there. So he's thrown 4 pitches below the zone and gotten 2 swings, 2 balls, and 2-2 count, obviously.
Base is empty, 1 gone.
That'll be something that teams continue to try to exploit until Corey Dickerson reins in the strike zone just a little bit. He has the highest swing percentage on balls outside of the zone of anybody in the game right now.
He takes this one inside. The count is full. Fastball in there. In the first half for Dickerson, he was fouling off all those pitches, even out of the zone, and getting base hits on some of them. Now it's a 3-2 count. He draws the walk. As you mentioned already, that has been an issue for him. Averaging in the neighborhood of 4.5 walks every 9 innings. And the Rays have drawn a lot of walks off him.
Well, what do we talk about? Repeatable delivery. And when you watch Ubaldo Jimenez's delivery, it's tough to repeat. I mean, there is a lot going on there between the leg kick, the arm path, the arm swing, the release point. It's a busy delivery.
Now Evan Longoria bounce it up the right side. Longoria 5 of 19 with a home run against Jimenez. Here is that delivery of which you speak.
And look how the arm shoots straight back, then it curls. He opens his hips up. You see the landing foot. You think about a straight line towards home plate. Look how that opens up. Try to create, well, he'll get a little bit of arm side run because of that. But Sometimes you open up a little bit too much, and then all of a sudden you start yanking breaking balls and you leave fastballs like he did to Dickerson, arm side up.
Into the dirt, blocked by Joseph. 2-1. It's on the corner, says Andy Fletcher. Even Longoria wonders about that one a little bit.
He's got a point. That ball started off the plate, had a little bit of action back towards it, but didn't quite make it.
The miss end. So we've seen 3 consecutive full counts to start this game from Jimenez. Dickerson on the move and a ground ball up the middle, through into center. Dickerson's going to go to third. Longoria took the fastball into center, setting up a first and third 1-out situation for Logan Morrison.
Already a threat here by the Rays, and it started with the walk, moved the base runner. Evan Longoria continues to swing a hot bat, uses the middle of the field, takes that fastball, coming back middle of the plate, right back through the box. And here you go, a chance for another early lead for the Rays.
Morrison with 61 runs batted in. He and Steven Souza Jr. tied for the team lead. And 6 out of 11 with a home run, 2 doubles and a triple against Jimenez. Ground ball down to third. Machado goes to second out there and over to first. The double play, and the Rays miss a golden opportunity. 5-4-3 on the double play.
These guys have been so good at the turning of the double play. Machado leading it once again. A perfect feed to Scope, and they get it done. Bit behind where he's at, and the feed to scope is perfect. We've seen it time and time again. It's just amazing how strong his arm is, how accurate it is. And oh, by the way, that goes the same for Jonathan Scope. Very strong and accurate arm, and they make turning double plays pretty.
Unless they're turning them against you, and then begrudgingly you have to give it to them.
Yeah.
Here's Chris Davis, his first plate appearance in this series. He's been under the weather, and he swings through the first pitch. Breaking ball, strike one. Davis, Trumbo, and then Mancini. One. Rays have Beckham in shallow right field. Echeverria on the first base side of the second base bag. Two balls and a strike. Trump worked 5 innings in his first outing against the Orioles. That was in Baltimore. Gave up a couple of runs. No decision in a 5-4 loss. Now it's 2-2. The last time also in Baltimore was on the 2nd of July. And that was a 7-1 loss. Charged with all 7 runs, 6 earned, and 6 1/3. Since then, very good against Boston, the Angels, and the Texas Rangers. That's strike 3. Fastball, and that's the second strikeout. Now here's that Baltimore appearance.
Yeah, and here it was. This is a chance to get out of a tough inning, look back the runner, and all of a sudden the throw sails. And you could feel Alex's pain right there, and just a little bit later there, Manny Machado gets him out to left center field, and that would end up being a tough day for Alex. But I'll tell you what, if you look at Alex Cobb, his last 8 starts, you go back to June the 9th, 4-1, a 2.35 earned run average, a 197 average against, and he's gone at least 7 innings in 5 of his last 6 starts in that span. He has been so dependable. And the only time he didn't was that start against Baltimore, and he pitched 6+ in that one.
1-1 with Trumbo now. Lifetime 4-2 with a 269 earned run average against Baltimore. High towering shot, well foul. Alex Cobb and the run he's been on the last 8 starts. Opposition hitting under 200 against him. He's gone 4-1.
Yeah, and getting deep into games. Like we said, he's thrown at least 6 innings in all 8 of the starts, and 7 innings in 5 of the last 6. He has been so consistent and efficient. And boy, when you look at his numbers against this Oriole team here at Tropicana Field, you go in and add on today so far, 30+ innings of work. He's given up 2 earned runs.
Two now to Trumbo. And he strikes him out with a high fastball. Went up with it. So the strikeouts here of Davis and Trumbo on the fastball.
Well, that's where you go with Mark Trumbo. You climb the ladder against him late in counts, and Alex Cobb able to do that. He was able to get Chris Davis with the fastball that he crowded him with. So right now, being able to put that heater in spots where he needs to, especially when he's in a position to finish off an AB.
Chopped to third. Nice scoop by the bag. Longoria gets his man. That throw into the runner a bit, and Morrison got out of there in the nick of time. Mancini out on a nice pickup by Longoria. 1, 2, 3, go the Orioles. Another look at that glove work of Evan Longoria. Rays coming in to hit, no score. Toyota dealers. Let's go places. Steven Souza Jr. to open the bottom of the second inning against Jimenez. Pitch is a strike. 20 home runs for Souza Jr. Started the 5-run second inning last night with a base hit. Eventually scored. Given home by Malik Smith. 0-2 now. And strike 3 called. Took that one right down the middle.
He did, which tells you that he's looking for something else. Looking for something completely in a different spot or a different type of pitch here from Jimenez, because an 0-2 fastball right there you'd think would get a big swing from Souza Jr., but he just got fooled.
Brad Miller. Jimenez ahead of him, a strike. One. Hopper back a third, foul. That's going to carry just into the stands. Machado could not quite get there. It was in the first or second row.
Well, there's where you can get a souvenir and you don't even have to wait for someone to give it to you. Another reason.
Good spots. Strategic locations.
Hey, we saw that version of a Rays shirt here this morning.
Yes, we did.
In this booth, as a matter of fact.
Yep. Rays fan Ken Hamilton stopped by and looked very dapper in that Rays shirt.
Hey, caught the eye of Jim Palmer.
Yeah, Palmer wanted to wear it. That would have caused some issues, I'm sure, in the Orioles booth.
I think it was more when he did sit-downs with Rays players.
This one is upstairs, 2-2. Balls, 2 strikes. Shot to second. Scope on a hop, comes up with it. Miller is out, number 2. Wilson Ramos in the starting lineup after pinch hitting last night. So as promised, he's back after being hit in the head by that broken bat while he was catching. And that required staples to close that wound, but he's back today in the starting lineup. This comes from Monday night.
It does. Broken bat here by Ruben Tejada, and that barrel end catches him square in the helmet. And you can see right now Wilson Ramos, the last thing that he wants to do is come out of this game, but it couldn't stop the bleeding. And I guess if your nickname, your moniker, you go by the Buffalo.
Yeah, you just keep going in any direction you want. Going to be out of play. 1-2. 3 called to Ramos. 3 up, 3 down. Go the Rays. On to the 3rd. No score. What I have back in the East, Boston up a game on the Yankees, and the Rays a game back in the wild card chase. And we're pleased to have join us Chaim Bloom, the senior vice president of the baseball office. And I'm good to see you. And I know you're very busy, and we're going to take a break from all that phone time you've been putting in lately.
It's good to be here. Nice to have the break.
So Smith's going to lead off the 3rd for Baltimore, and the first pitch is a strike.
So yeah, what is the process like right now? I mean, how does it actually work? Because the Rays, you've got that 3-headed monster with yourself and Eric and Matt Silverman. Is it a matter of personal relationships? Is there a point man that reaches out to all these teams? Because I imagine you guys are burning up the phone lines, all 3 of you right now.
Well, it's a fun time of year, and we're always having conversations with other clubs, but this time of year, obviously, the pace really picks up. And whether it's myself or Eric or Matt, or we have really a whole group that's working very hard on this to try to figure out what the best fits are. We're reaching out to different clubs. Most clubs we have a point man, just to make sure we don't cross signals too much, but there's a lot of relationships in this game, and we try to use them all to the best of our ability.
This time of year, clubs trying to figure out, are they buyers, are they sellers, somewhere in between? And if you're wanting to be a buyer, number one, you've got to identify the teams that might be sellers. And in these days and the kinds of races we have, that might change from almost day to day as to who actually is willing to make a deal with you.
No doubt. It's been an interesting year in that respect. I mean, a lot of teams, especially in the American League, a lot of teams all kind of clumped up and reassessing their needs from day to day.
Are there certain positions, certain areas of the team that you're looking to shore up, or are you really looking, big picture, looking at everything?
I think you have to look at everything, and I think when we acquired Danny Echeverria, I think that was a good example of that. We weren't out there looking for a shortstop, but a player came on the market that we really liked and that we thought could help us and just make our team deeper and better. So we don't want to turn away potential acquisitions like that can help us, even if it's not something we're directly targeting.
Without giving up organizational secrets, but there's a case in point. Player becomes available. What's the process? As BA mentioned, it's really sort of a conference call among the 3 of you. So how do you decide we're going to pull the trigger?
Well, we have there's different ways that these things come about. Obviously, there's some players that we learn are available through various means.
Smith out on strikes. Curveball gets him. That's 4 strikeouts for Cobb.
See, I had rock, paper, scissors, best 2 out of 3. And whoever comes out on top, that's the way you're going to go. No?
Teams will reach out to us, in some cases start the conversation, especially this time of year. We're trying to be the aggressors on some guys that we think fit us well and reach out to them. And you have a back and forth with those clubs, and you kind of figure out, well, here's what they're willing to do. And then we have a lot of discussion, certainly not just amongst the 3 of us, but feedback from our scouts, from a lot of our guys in the office, and we basically try to put it all together the best we can and challenge each other. And more often than not, we're able to come to a really good consensus based on those conversations.
Caleb Joseph takes a strike here, 1 out, base is empty. It'd be great to be a fly on the wall in those conversations. Great baseball conversations, but then the logistics of gathering all that information and then pulling the trigger at some point.
Yeah, it's fun, but it is demanding, and there's a lot of information. I mean, especially this time of year when the decisions in a lot of cases might be imminent. We're getting down to the trade deadline. We've got scouts all over the country. We've got feelers out in a million different places. We're trying to dig up as much as we can on these guys just to make sure we don't miss a thing.
2 pitch, and it's headed up the middle into center. That's the first hit for Baltimore.
You know, you had mentioned that there are some players that you're aggressively, pursuing now. As you're doing that, what is the level of competition? I mean, I'm sure that you're obviously not the only club pursuing these guys. What's that level of competition, and how do you express to that team, almost like a, hey, check with us before you go off and do anything?
Yeah, that's part of the fun of it and kind of the give and take of negotiations, where you want to make sure that you have as much a chance to decide and really get to your limit on a given player. You don't want something done away from you that you say, well, I wish they had checked with us. At the same time, you don't want to overpay and put yourself in a position where you've backed yourself into a corner. So I think a lot of the conversations we try to have, you try to get a feel with the other club of where they are, how quickly this might move. And you try to use your own information and your informational networks, the feedback you're getting from your scouts, from your people, connections around the game, to try to get a sense of what the market might be like and who else might really be on this player and how that might affect what it costs to get him.
When you have a player that you really target, you say, you know what, I think this guy's going to be a good fit for the team. Is there a hard limit on what you're willing to pay for that guy, or is that somewhat malleable? I mean, does that move a little bit, or do you say we are going no higher than this, regardless of what he thinks the fit is like?
Well, I guess the answer is probably both. It depends on the situation. I mean, ideally, you'd like to have a limit. I think one of the interesting things about this time of year, and maybe a dangerous thing, but also a really fun thing, because this is what you work for. You work to be in this position where these games are really meaningful, and you got a chance to potentially go to the playoffs. And there is some emotion in that, and it matters, and you want to factor that in too.
This is Longoria with a stop out at second and over to first for the double play. And so the Rays show some D right there. I'm great to have you with us. I'm sorry that it was as short as it was, but happy about the double play.
Not at all upset about that.
All right. We wish you all the best, and we're looking forward for more conversation as the deadline comes near.
Thanks very much.
that they're committed to making a deal if they can do it, and they might have to make a hard decision, VA, about who they give up. But I think they feel they have a little bit more depth now, even down below. So it's possible that they could make a deal involving a prospect or two to get somebody to help here, because I think there's a genuine feeling in the front office that this team could make a legitimate run at something special.
All the pieces are in place. Maybe not all of the pieces yet when you talk about potential trades, but starting pitching as a group has been tremendous. The offense, for the most part, it's been down a little bit here recently, not doing a great job with runners in scoring position, but you feel that that's going to come back. You know, you add Wilson Ramos for up the middle, you know, defense and offense. You've got Echeverria already there. Kevin Kiermaier is going to be coming back. There's a lot of things to like about this team. The bullpen it has gotten a little sturdier, but you would certainly like to see that step up its game a little bit. I'm sure that's an area that they're targeting.
Yeah.
But when you talk about those decisions, Dwayne, I think you're right. I think every team probably has a couple untouchables and then some guys that are in that fringe we don't really want to, but if it's the right deal, maybe.
Yeah, and you get the feeling that they would be willing to, I don't know if rolling the dice is the right term. I think you do that on any deal you make to a certain degree. But I think they're willing to seriously entertain that. Echeverria, Beckham out on the fly ball to center. And the first pitch is a breaking ball and a strike to Echeverria. Now 0-2. Now it'll be interesting, but I think they're in play, and you get the feeling that maybe they've been legitimately close to a couple of things already. Might still be close, but have not consummated the deal yet. And still talking with other clubs. Interesting how that, as we've watched through the years, how those things come down. Sometimes, you know, 2 or 3 teams just have a better rapport among themselves than you do with other clubs.
Yeah, I'm going to say the Rays have a good rapport with Seattle.
Seattle, San Diego was like that, you know. And that's not unusual. You'll see that. Echeverria is out on strikes. 2 gone. Other news from the Rays today: Jake Odorizzi has gone to the disabled list with a lower back strain. The word on that. 18 starts in. Andrew Kittredge will be back from Durham after 3 games. He was optioned, and now he's back.
Well, you hope for Jake Odorizzi's sake in the starting rotation. That's a short-term deal. You know, I know, having dealt with some lower back issues, you know, having been out there on the mound, that can be a trouble spot if you don't take care of it. So smart that they're going to do that. You just hope it doesn't linger. I'll tell you, the first time I ever had a lower back injury, it was on my landing foot side, and you know, low back strain. And so I went in and, you know, had to obviously have something done with it. The first thing they did was go to my hamstring, and I'm like, no, wait, time out. It's my lower back, that side. Yeah. Went to it was a hamstring issue. It was a hamstring that was too tight that ended up causing the back problem. Yeah. Everything connected.
Yeah, the hip bone's connected to the leg bone, the thigh bone, and all that.
A hamstring doesn't hurt. Are you qualified to be doing this? But they were right.
Foul ball, still 1-2 to Mallex Smith. Yeah, you can imagine it's an exciting time, particularly if you're in that baseball office now. Every day, at any moment, something could happen, and you're evaluating and reevaluating. Some interesting conversations. We're getting used to that.
Really?
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to tell you something. Dwayne, we are going to have to start making these fellas down the left and right field line part of the defensive alignment. We're going to have to.
They've earned it. There you go.
I think that's a catch, too, not a trap.
Smith out on strikes. 2 more strikeouts in this inning for Jimenez. We're through 3. Rays and the Orioles scoreless. Visit your local participating 7-Eleven store and pick up a Rays discount coupon for the game next Friday against the Milwaukee Brewers. And while you're there, cool off with a Big Gulp and a Rays branded Big Gulp Cup. All for just 79 cents in stores through August. Rays up. Top of the batting order, Adam Jones leading off the fourth for Alex Cobb. Machado and Scope to face Cobb here in the fourth. The pitch is down. Alex 4 strikeouts. Gave up the hit to Joseph and then threw a double play ball to Tejada to end the top of the third. So he starts his second time through the lineup. Bouncer foul.
Well, this is the ideal time to do that. Top of the fourth inning means you've had a clean 3 innings. Nice job on the Rays with that double play ball to get out of the top of the third.
Two and one. Rays now 5-6 with Baltimore in the season series. Line drive, and it's grabbed by Longoria. Back to third right there. That's out number 1 in the fourth. The Toyota inside look, and we'll check out the Rays schedule. Leaving home after this game here against the Orioles, and it's not necessarily an easy schedule as they go to New York, play the Yankees, then into Houston. 4 against New York and 4 against Houston, back against Milwaukee, Boston, and Cleveland. So this is going to be a challenge over the next couple of weeks here for the Rays.
The one thing that I'll say about this team, and you can go back over the last few seasons too, is the Rays have that tendency to play up to their level of competition. So if you want to challenge them with a difficult road, they're going to be there to meet the challenge. So yeah, this looks daunting, but let's think about it. The Yankees are right there. They're a couple games back. Now the Astros have set the pace. That's going to be a big 4-gamer on the road. Milwaukee, they've slid back to earth a little bit. You know, Boston, They've been on a little bit of a slide. The Indians have been, win 4, lose 3, back and forth. So even though that these teams are leading their respective divisions, maybe not as daunting as it looks. And on top of that, even if it is, the Rays, like I said, they show up for those types of series.
So a little number right back to the mound, and the toss to first to get Machado. 2 gone. Well, the way this race throughout baseball has gone, a couple teams have run away, and Houston one of them, the Dodgers the other one, but all the other divisions, a good part of those divisions still in play.
Where 2 teams really jump out at you to hammer that point home. Kansas City Royals.
Yep.
I mean, out of nowhere. Pittsburgh Pirates.
Yep.
I mean, even when the Rays played them, that wasn't that long ago. You were thinking Andrew McCutchen, is he going to be gone? And now look, everything in play.
The Rays saw Kansas City, Minnesota, Pittsburgh, and you'd think, all right, they'll probably be sellers.
Yeah.
Well, they're trying to be buyers.
Big
Some
buyers.
cases already been.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, look what the Royals did.
Yep. 2-1 now on Scope. And that's why the point is, when we had time up here, you're just not in a position to get into specific names, so that never comes up. But it is difficult to figure out from almost, day to day, certainly week to week, who's a buyer and who's a seller. Because you certainly would have thought 2 or 3 of those teams right there on that list in the wild card race now would have been sellers. Well, not necessarily the case.
Oh, look at Texas. Texas goes to Baltimore trying to get their legs back under them. They get, swept in that series, and then come here, sweep the Rays. Now there's talk maybe they're gonna, who knows what they're gonna do. Day or 2 after that, they lose a game or 2, and now all of a sudden, Darvish maybe for the right deal is going to be moved, and all these teams hot after him. You just don't know. You're kicking the tires on everything because.
Yeah, now Darvish revealing that there are some no trade clauses in there to certain clubs.
Yeah.
And a couple of interesting teams. The Cubs won.
Yep.
The Indians, I think.
That's it.
Fly ball deep to center. Malik Smith will go to the wall, and that ball is gone. 3-2 pitch. And Jonathan Scope has hit his 22nd home run of the year to give Baltimore a 1-0 lead. Scope having a great year. An all-star this year.
Boy, he got a hanging split changeup in the middle of the plate in a full count, and that ball leaping off the bat and high off the batter's eye in center field.
The ball to Chris Davis. Well, that changeup starting to get some more depth, but not always. And we saw him the last time out hurt by that. Hurt by it here.
Well, that's why you've got to continue to be careful with that pitch. And what we saw earlier in the season with Alex Cobb is he was very judicious in how he used that pitch. Lower leverage situations where he could, afford to have a change of speed and maybe not the depth that he's used to. And here, more recently, we've seen that pitch being used in higher leverage type of situations, starting to believe in it a little bit more, but it's still not at the same consistent level as he would like it.
This time, the pitch is high to Davis, and he lays off the fastball up there. 3-1. Three and two. Takes another one high, so he laid off a couple high fastballs in that at bat and draws the walk.
And that's what Chris Davis, if he's able to do that, you know, then all of a sudden he forces you back down into the zone. That's a pitch a lot of times he will chase, and if you just look at his swing path, very difficult for him to get to that pitch. So his only chance is to take it.
Now Mark Trumbo, the designated hitter. Fouls a fastball. Trumbo did chase a fastball up in the second inning and struck out. One of 4 strikeouts posted by Alex Cobb. All coming the first time through the order.
It continues to try to exploit that area. Up in the zone, out over the plate. And now that you're up 0-2, you take that pitch up another inch or two, and instead of getting the foul back, you're going to get a swing through strike 3.
Ground ball chopped to short. Echeverria over to second for the force. We're headed into the bottom of the 4th. Jonathan Scope's home run has given Baltimore a 1-0 lead.
Assignment on Thursday down in Port Charlotte. Kiermaier says that he's thrilled to get back to action. Originally, the Gold Glove center fielder was going to get back to work this weekend, but the timeline has moved up to tomorrow. Now, Kiermaier says he can't wait to get back on the field. And Dwayne, he's all smiles that he's right where he wants to be in his recovery, with preparing for his return on August 9th.
Yeah, and I think he's pretty confident right now, at least from all the things that we hear from your conversation from him and some that we've had, that he's going to be ready to go August 9th. That would be the first day he's eligible.
I think physically things are spoken for. It's just a matter now of getting back into baseball. You know, getting into shape, that's, you know, he's doing that too, staying active, but it's getting back into baseball shape, getting your timing back at the plate, getting good jumps out in center field. And obviously once he does that, he'll be right back up here doing his thing. And I think everybody's excited for that.
Well, we talked with Shine Bloom here about trades. If you get Kiermaier back, you're adding a guy that's almost like a trade. We talked about Ramos when he came back. You're adding a valuable piece to the puzzle there. Foul back.
Yeah, at two of the most important positions on the field too. I mean, you think about center field and behind the plate.
Well, the one thing the front office did over the winter was develop this team with a little more depth. I think suffering through what we all saw last year with injuries and what turned out to be a lack of depth at key spots. And so they addressed that, and it's been a good thing because it's kept this club in the race. Dickerson called out on strikes here to begin the bottom of the fourth.
And think about that. One of your primary setup men, your starting platinum glove center fielder, developing still offensively. So it's not like he's just a one-trick pony. What is going to be your starting catcher that you signed, you know, knowing that he wasn't going to be ready until June. Think about all of that, and yet this team stayed right there, stayed right there, stayed right there, and then you're going to get to add all those pieces back in and maybe trade for one or two more. And that speaks to the depth, and you got to tip your hat to them because that was something that was exposed in this team a year ago.
1-0 count to Evan Longoria. Pops it up, fouls it straight back, and that's out of play. 1-1. Swing and a miss, fastball. And it's 1-2.
Well, this is one of those starts, Ebaldo Jimenez, right now, everything working. You know, a shaky first inning, was bailed out by the sweet double play. And since then, he has been dotting.
And there's another one. Strike three called on that pitch away.
Oh, think about the two strikeouts here in this inning, kind of indicative of the turn that he's taken. Dots the fastball into Corey Dickerson and then comes away. And this pitch, I mean, right along the edge of that plate, close enough to call, and Andy Fletcher does just that.
Now Logan Morrison. Morrison grounded into the double play. It ended the first. He was up there with men at first and third. Down the strike. Rays down a run. Smoked it out of play. 0-2. There, moves him around. 34-year-old right-hander. 25 starts last year. This is his 16th start this season. Also has 5 relief appearances. This is off the plate end. A couple in there after starting him away.
And doing a great job of just mixing and matching. First pitch off speed. Moving the ball in and out, up and down, back and forth. And that's how he has to pitch. But today, he's been able to command those pitches, and that oftentimes is the issue.
Three and two. Three-year-old right-hander, Ubaldo Jimenez. 3-2, popped up left side. Jimenez after it, and in foul territory makes the catch. The Rays are finished in the fourth. On to the fifth. 1-0 Baltimore. Ball break brought to you by T-Mobile. Well, the Red Sox picked up some infield help. Eduardo Nunez, acquired from the San Francisco Giants for a couple of minor league pitchers. Sean Anderson, who was one of their top 20 prospects. Gregory Santos from the Red Sox to the Giants and the Nunez deal.
Now, third base has been a trouble spot. You know that Dave Dombrowski, the team has had their eye on that position. Tried a number of guys down there, starting with Pablo Sandoval, and nothing has seemed to work out. So
Trey Mancini takes a strike.
I'll tell you, they've had a rough go of it out on the West Coast, losing again last night in extra innings.
4 in a row.
Yeah. I'll tell you, if the Rays ever did pick a time to have a little bit of a slide, that was it.
Well, what that tells you, the Rays lost 5 in a row. Then the Red Sox follow that up, losing 4 in a row. So the Rays 2.5 back of the Red Sox. The Yankees a game back. Yankees had their little slide. That's a strike, and now it's 1-2. And that's what you see with these divisions. We mentioned earlier, Houston setting the pace, Dodgers running away in the National League, but everybody else, I mean, a lot of clubs even had to almost admit they were out of it. They put a nice little streak together. They're back in, as we discussed a couple innings ago. So the right side. That will be a foul ball. Slicing down beyond the bullpen area. Roll back and be a souvenir. Still 2-2 to Mancini. It off in and fouls it. Seth Smith is on deck. The Orioles had been mentioned as potential sellers, and Smith's name came up. Depends on the week.
Yeah,
sometimes a couple of days span. Swing and a miss. That had some depth to it. The change, and so that's out number 1 in the 5th. MLB.com at BAT, your #1 mobile app for live Rays baseball. Stay connected with a fully customizable experience. Get Rays home screens, icon, and app features, as well as game day, live game video highlights, StatCast, and a lot more. Download MLB.com at BAT today. Here's Smith. Pitch is down, 1-0. Double figures with 11 home runs for Seth Smith. Strike. 5 strikeouts for Cobb in the 5th inning. 1 walk, 2 hits. One of those a solo home run to Jonathan Scope in the 4th. Takes the count to 2-2.
And you just keep digging in and you keep pitching hard and believing your offense is going to get something going against Ubaldo Jimenez, who's been very, very good thus far. And outside of that 4th inning, Alex Cobb, look at that pitch count. Talking about in order. 11s and 12s throughout. Oh, but it'll go up here in the 5th.
Fly ball to left toward the corner. Dickerson on the run. That will one-hop that low wall. Dickerson's going to have to play the carom, and it's a double for Smith. So with 1 out, the Orioles have a man in scoring position on the 13th double of the year for Seth Smith.
Well, the curveball for Alex Cobb has been very good today, and this is just one that he's going to leave. He tries to go away. That's something that he's got the ability to do, to locate that pitch out in. He goes away with this one that just stayed up, didn't have the spin that he was looking for, and that ball one-hops the low wall, and Baltimore threatening.
Caleb Joseph singled his first time. Run, 3 hits for the Orioles, no runs, 1 hit for the Rays. Pitch is fouled back. behind 0-2. Joseph caught the first game here Monday with Kevin Gossman on the mound. Base hit was 1 for 4. Joseph,
a season ago, did not drive in a runner.
yep.
I mean, you talk about an interesting year. Was it 19 so far this season?
Yeah, he had some injuries last year, but came back, and you can only imagine the frustration for him. The 0-2 ground ball. This is Longoria, and he's going to go to first. Smith pulled up there for a moment as he found himself running near Longoria, and Evan takes the out at first with Smith going to third.
That was nice base running there by Seth Smith. The path that Longoria travels to get to that baseball, Smith waits for him to commit and get the ball, and then realizes there's no way that he can come all the way back to get him. Evan, like you're right there, you see him, he wants to tag him, but he's too far inside of him, and he's not going to be able to do that. So he takes the out over at first base, and here's Seth Smith. Read the path, angle in just a hair, and get over to third base. That was well played by the Oriole base runner.
Ruben Tejada. Fly ball into right. Souza Jr. back for it. They're waiting. And that retires the side. 5 innings in the book now for Alex Cobb. Gave up the 1 run on the homer to Scope. 5 strikeouts and a walk in the process, and it's 1-0 Baltimore. Coors Light. Rays have done so much scoring early in games. They're a +86 in the first 5 innings and a -78 beyond that. Second in the first 5 and last in the major leagues beyond the 5th. So here we are in the bottom of the 5th. Time for the Rays to get busy offensively. Want to know the count on Souza Jr.
Yeah, they need to back up their starter here, Alex Cobb, who, one mistake, and that's the difference in the game right now. Jimenez, you can't put this as much on the Rays offense as just Jimenez has been that good, and he has stayed out of the middle of the plate. He was in trouble in the first inning, got out of it with a double play, and he's been really good since that point.
And he promptly falls way behind Steven Souza Jr.
This is where you have to make it hurt. Just that one hit, one walk, 6 strikeouts.
He picks up the zone. Well, the walk and the hit in the first. No hits since then. No base runners since then, since Longoria's single to center. Count is full. You got Morrison to ground into a double play to end the first. And then retired the next 9 men in order. Three-two to Souza. And strike 3 called. Souza caught looking for the second time. And that's 7 strikeouts for Jimenez.
Both on fastballs, too. Souza Jr. took an 0-2 fastball, the first strikeout. Here's a full count fastball. But there again is the location by Jimenez. I mean, perfectly placed at the knees, down and away. Souza Jr. trying to sell the walk, and Andy Fletcher not buying.
And Miller. Strike 1. Ball, 1 strike. One. 7 strikeouts for Jimenez. He's walked 1, allowing 1 hit. Souza called out on strikes in this one. Both strikeouts of Souza called 3rd strikes. The popper. Tejada is there, back of the bag to make the catch. Where it pops out to the shortstop. So 7 strikeouts, 5 of those have been called 3rd strikes. 4 of those fastballs. Wilson Ramos. Jimenez has had his way with the Rays offense so far today. He has Ramos chasing a fastball up out of the zone, and he fouled it. That's a fair ball down beyond the bullpen mound. Mancini will have to come get it. Ramos headed for second, and he's in there standing with a double. So the Rays with 2 outs get a double from Wilson Ramos. It's their first hit since the 1-out single by Longoria in the first.
Now that split works its way back down and in. And Wilson Ramos just circles it, and he keeps it fair. Boy, he hammered that ball right over the bag. 2-out chance.
Tim Beckham will be the hitter. It was Beckham who capped the 5-run second inning last night. The home run to center field. Beckham lifted a fly ball to center in the third, caught by Jones. 1 of 3 in his career against Jimenez, and he fouls it back. Strike 1. Last night's blast to center.
Change up, left, right out over the heart of the plate, and Tim Beckham made it pay. Wade Miley, that blew the game open. It was 2-0 at that point. All of a sudden, it becomes 5-0, and that would be all the runs that the Rays would score. Needed every single one of them too.
Beckham fouls this one back.
Boy, look at where those 2 pitches were.
Yep. It's 0-2
Well, now you battle. Now you're thinking, put the ball in play. Who knows? You may find a hole somewhere, bloop one in, whatever you got to do. Maybe Jimenez makes another mistake.
The ball, 2 strikes. Echeverria on deck. Fly ball lifted into right. Smith still back and just before the track. Makes that catch, and the Rays will leave a man. We're headed into the 6th. 1-0 Baltimore. Rays find themselves trying to solve Ubaldo Jimenez in this one. 5 scoreless innings after giving up 21 hits and 12 runs through 9 innings over his last 2 starts. But right on point today, and the only thing he needed so far was the 4th inning home run by Jonathan Scope, who hit the 2-out home run off a changeup to center field. And Alex Cobb and Ubaldo Jimenez matched in a 1-0 game right now.
And for Alex Cobb, this is a big inning. Down 1-0. Jimenez has been throwing the ball well, and you're about to wrap around this Oriole lineup for the 3rd time. Adam Jones here leading off the 6th inning.
Jones, Machado, and Scope, 1, 2, 3 in the order. Jones into the game with an 8-game hitting streak. 1-0.
Well, I think if Alex is able to go out there and throw up a 0 here in this top half of the inning, you're going to see the Rays lineup come alive in the bottom half. It's come high time that they get something done, and going and getting these guys out to get there, I think it's going to go a long way.
2-0. Now Cobb way behind Jones. 3 balls, no strikes. This is a guy who does not like to walk. Machado's on deck. There's a strike. Jones has walked 18 times all year. Skies it to center field. Smith, 1 gone. Super Rays fans, assemble. Next Saturday, the Rays take on the Brewers in an interleague matchup, and the first 15,000 fans receive a Rays-themed Marvel Iron Man figurine. Presented by Crown Automotive Group. Call 888-FAN-RAYS or visit RaysBaseball.com today. Rays up. Manny Machado. Pitch wide. Machado has struck out and grounded out pitcher first. Strike. Machado is 3 for 22 in his career against Cobb. 2 of those 3 hits home runs. 2 balls and a strike.
He's hit a number of balls in this series very hard. He's been hot over the last 3-4 weeks for this Baltimore club, and you can see Alex Cobb being very careful with him in this AB.
Cut a foul ball down to one knee, and he's still down.
Well, you get that changeup moving down and in, and you get on top of it. There's only one place for it to go, and that's real close to the legs. And that one got, ooh, that got him on the inside of the ankle. Forget the foot.
Yep.
Oh man, does that hurt. I wonder if he's got a pad that he keeps underneath the pant leg. You would think so, because if he didn't have something, he wouldn't be walking right now. That ball was shot on the ankle.
Three balls, 2 strikes. Scope, the difference in the game, is on deck. Ground ball through the hole. So Machado limps his way down to first base after picking up a single between short and third.
And he did have some protection underneath that pant leg, but so what? That still hit him so square it's going to hurt. There's the changeup, doesn't quite get in or down far enough, and Machado able to find a hole on the left side, and you could see significant limping.
Four hits for Baltimore. Jonathan Scope has the big one, the home run in the 4th inning. At the plate right now. First pitch strike. Ground ball. Echeverria with a glove toss to second, and Beckham Stowe to first in time for the double play. Right out of the glove of Echeverria for the out at second base, and Beckham turns it 6-4-3. There it is. We go to the bottom of the 6th. Still 1-0 Baltimore. Headed into the home half of the 6th inning, the Bonefish catch of the game. Let's take another look at this double play, and Echeverria with that backhand glove toss.
I mean, that is absolutely beautiful. How many double plays have we seen in this series by the Rays? You think about Evan Longoria last night in a very meaningful spot. Some of the Machado to Scope double plays.
Echeverria down to Machado, who fires to first after coming up with that ball. And a complete turn. Echeverria out at first.
I'll tell you what, there has been some infielders in this series showing off. This guy leading the charge. Now you're going to spin, and he's got a super strong arm right down there from the side and throws a bullet to Chris Davis, who got down, assumed the position, almost like a catcher, just waiting for this fastball. A little bit away and off the plate, but counts as an out.
Yeah, it's been a fun series for infield play. No question about that. So down around the feet of Malik Smith for a ball. You know, you actually have two clubs here. And if you get down to that breakout of maybe the modern day baseball with walks and strikeouts and home runs, you have two teams who can play that game here. But in this series, we've seen a little throwback with the infield play. You've got Cobb on the mound. Jimenez has pitched well today. So it's been make good pitches, make good plays defensively. And now here's a walk to Malik Smith, and we'll see if the Rays can utilize his speed.
Well, they should be able to, because Ubaldo Jimenez really struggles with the running game. If you wanted to walk anybody, this would not be the guy, because this is where you feel like the Rays have an opportunity to push the envelope a little bit. They've had a hard time developing anything offensively, so maybe try to create something with Malik Smith against Jimenez.
To the opposition, 14 of 18 running against him. Malik Smith 15 of 19 in steal attempts.
Yeah, I think that you've got to do something here. You've got to try to make something happen. You've allowed this offense to sit back for 5 innings and try to slug away, and it hasn't worked out so well. You got your best base stealer out there against a guy who really struggles with the running game.
Dickerson at the plate with Smith at first, who draws a throw.
You know, maybe you can get Jimenez. He's obviously going to be very concerned with Malik's over there at first base. All of a sudden that leads to a mistake at the plate. Something good could happen there too.
More time to first. Picked up his 15th steal in the final game of the series against Texas. Pitch out and nothing doing. The Orioles doing some guessing over there, sensing just what we are here, that the Rays would like to take advantage of this situation, force the issue.
Well, and by doing that, all of a sudden the count starts to move into Corey Dickerson's favor, and you still have that threat hanging over your head.
And a swing and a miss. Dickerson with 18 home runs this year. Earlier this season in Baltimore, it was Dickerson connecting off Jimenez. That was back at the end of April. He had a fastball out. Fouls this one. Dickerson off Jimenez was his 5th of the year. One on, one out. Fouls it. That will carry into the seats back of third. Well, at one point, Jimenez had retired 12 in a row before the double by Ramos in the 5th inning. Here in the 6th, got the first man and then walked Alex Smith. He's at first. One on, one out, 1-2 the count to Dickerson. Smith drawing a peg over there again from the right-hander.
Alex Smith at this point has gotten enough of a read of Jimenez. You figure it's just a matter of time now before he goes, and I would think sooner rather than later.
Starts and stops, and a swing and a miss. Dickerson chased the pitch wide. 2 gone.
Well, all you had to do was just look at that breakout there on Fox Tracks. Staying away from the zone. Staying away from the zone and get Corey Dickerson to try and chase. And he did right there on a fastball that was up a little bit and well off the plate.
Well, here's Evan Longoria with Smith still at first. Evan looks at a pitch off the plate. He has singled and was called out on strikes on a pitch away in the 4th inning. And we've seen Fletcher give that call a little bit off the corner on a couple of occasions today. Runner goes, the pitch is popped up and foul, out of play it goes. So it's 1-1. Takes that lead once again. And a long one to left. That baby's going to get out of here. Gone. Home run. And the Rays take a 2-1 lead. Evan Longoria puts the Rays on the board with his 15th home run of the year. Evan's 2nd hit of the day. This one a 2-run blast.
Well, after the 0 put on by Alex Cobb, the Rays offense does come to life. It came down to their last out here in the 6th. But look at this fastball location down and in, and look at that uppercut swing by Evan Longoria, and the flip right here lets you know he knows that it's long gone. How about that?
Now here's Morrison taking a ball. So Longoria picks up his first home run on this homestand. He hit one in Oakland and in Anaheim on the last road trip. 1-1. And a big one right here to give the Rays the lead in the 6th inning. Darren O'Day up in the bullpen for Baltimore. Two and 1. 23rd home run allowed by Waldo Jimenez. Irvin's second career home run off him. 2-2 the count. Two on Morrison. That takes it all the way to 3-2. Strike with a 2-run blast. 2-run homer with 2 outs in the 6th by Longoria. And now a full count on Logan Morrison, sitting right here with 26 home runs. And he fouls it. Morrison had a couple home runs against the Orioles to open the month in Baltimore. 2 in that series, and is out on strikes. Swinging over that pitch. The Rays are finished in the 6th inning, but they get a big one off the bat of Evan Longoria. A 2-run home run, scoring Malik Smith in front of him. And at the end of 6, the Rays now lead 2-1. Presented by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. Rays hit the road. Chris Archer will open that series, and we'll hear from him, and Orestes will break down Aaron Judge. Take a look as we go in to Yankee Stadium tomorrow. Archer against CC Sabathia, and the Rays have yet to determine Friday's starter against Masahiro Tanaka. Caleb Smith and Blake Snell on Saturday afternoon. Sunday afternoon, Jake Faria against Jordan Montgomery.
I can't believe TBA with the same exact numbers as Chris Archer. So you know what you're getting, kind of.
Chris Davis to lead off. And a chopper, fair ball back of first. Morrison makes the play unassisted. Jake Odorizzi has been placed on the disabled list with a back issue, lower back. Tommy Hunter up in the bullpen now for the Rays. Trumbo is struck out and bounced into a fielder's choice. It's inside, 1-0. Six pitches so far for Cobb. One curveball. Rays getting to Jimenez for 2 in the bottom of the 6th. Swing and a miss, 1-2. Wide, 2-2. A little tap to the right side. Cobb heads to the bag and takes the throw from Morrison. Trumbo's out, number 2. 2 down, 2 ground balls to the right side. And now it'll be Trey Mancini. Mancini has grounded out and struck out. Longoria made a very nice play on the ball he hit the 3rd in the 2nd inning. Pitch is a ball. Mancini found himself ducking the throw as it started to tail into the runner down there at first, and Morrison just grabbed it and got out of the way. 1-1. Nice pitch right there. 1-2. The knuckle curve.
And one of the better ones that we've seen here this afternoon. He really snaps it. Look how tight the spin is, even in slow-mo.
Swing and a miss. He came right back with one, doubled up on it, and strikes out Mancini. 7th inning stretch time. Rays 2 and Baltimore 1. 27 hitters. Rays win it 5-0. Garza retiring 22 consecutive batters after his second inning walk. And throwing the no-hitter, congratulated by his teammates. First and only no-hitter in franchise history. 8 strikeouts and the walk, 120 pitches. Here today, the Rays hold a 2-1 lead coming in to hit in the bottom of the 7th inning, and Darren O'Day takes over for Jimenez.
O'Day on for the 38th time. 34 2/3, 43 strikeouts, 16 walks.
Steven Souza Jr., first man to face the veteran right-hander. And he tried to hold up and could not. Twice today, Souza Jr. has been called out on strikes. Stays in 1-1. Rays got 2 runs, 3 hits in 6 innings off Jimenez. He walked 2, struck out 9, made 99 pitches, and leaves trailing 2-1. There's a long one off the bat of Souza. Way up and gone. Souza Jr. hit that one a mile. That was up in D-ring territory. And Souza hits his 21st home run of the year. What a blast by Steven Souza Jr. And the Rays have a 3-1 lead.
A little bit of breathing room here for the Rays. Souza Jr. got a frisbee, and Dwayne, he peppered that D-ring, that catwalk up there. This was a rocket right off of it. Hopefully you get a chance to see that do that, but that right there stays in the middle of the plate, and he catches it on the bottom half of that baseball, no doubt about it.
Brad Miller takes the pitch wide. Wide. 2-0. Well, here's the swing, and we'll watch it make contact with the D-ring. Greet O'Day with the home run. And there's ball 4 on 4 pitches, a walk to Miller.
I mean, the ball's utterly destroyed.
Well, he hit the D-ring today. He hit one off the C-ring in the Cincinnati series last month. Wilson Ramos at the plate. Takes a soft strike. Ball towards short. Scoop to Hada, Scope to Davis. 6-4-3 on the double play.
Well, the big story is the New York Yankees and Clint Frazier right here. Taking a ball inside out the other way. Drops it out into right field. Ronald Torreyes comes around to score. The Yankees lead this game 1-0 as they head into the bottom of the 5th inning. And right now, Luis Severino throwing the ball very well. 5 scoreless for the Yankees, running up a good strikeout total.
The Yankees a game back of Boston. Rays 2.5 back. There's Beckham, base hit the other way into right. Beckham picks up his first hit of the day. Echeverria will be the hitter. Well, the Rays took the lead on a 2-run home run by Evan Longoria. And Souza hit the home run to open the bottom of the 7th. Quick trip to the mound. Roger McDowell. With you tomorrow, 6:30 on Fox Sports Sun. The Rays opening the series in New York against the Yankees. Big road trip for the Rays. 4 against the Yankees and then 4 against the Astros in Houston. The Rays will be back on August the 4th, a Friday night game against Milwaukee here at Tropicana Field. And the Brewers starting the day leading the National League Central by half game. Close over at first, and Beckham is back in. Milwaukee a half game up on the Cubs. Cut, strike 1.
That was a swing with bad intentions. Echeverria. We've seen him go the other way here for the Rays as he's gotten back on track offensively, but right there he was taking a shot for damage.
Fouls it back. Blyer up in the bullpen. He was in the game Monday night. Threw 3 ground balls. Finished that one off. Two strikes to Echeverria. 2 outs, a run home. Beckham at first. Keep an eye on him. Runner goes. Pitch is foul. 2 delivery and Beckham was off. He'll retreat to first. Ball, 2 strikes. O'Day pitched 1 inning Monday. Walked 1, struck out 1. Rays have touched him for a run on the long home run. Swing and a miss. Echeverria strikes out. A run on the home run by Steven Souza Jr. We've completed 7 innings, and the Rays have a 3-1 lead as we head into the 8th.
He was masterful, moving the ball around the zone, keeping this Baltimore team off balance. One changeup in the middle of the plate, Jonathan Scope took advantage of, but that would be it as he would regroup. The changeup would get better as the game went along. The curveball was pretty good all game long and able to locate that fastball up and down, in and out. 7 strong, has the lead, and you turn the game over to the bullpen, starting here with right-hander Tommy Hunter.
Well, Hunter will face Seth Smith, whom he walked last night in the 8th inning, and back to match up against him in the 8th inning this afternoon. Rays lead 3-1, 199 earned run average for Hunter. Smith had doubled in 2 at-bats against Cobb, which is a strike. Smith 5 of 8 against Hunter, with a home run in his career. 1-1. One. Joseph due next, then the shortstop Tejada. Smith taps it foul down around his feet. 2-2. Walk that one off. Andy Fletcher gives him a little time, doing some groundskeeping out in front of the plate. Adam Kolarek is up in the bullpen for the Rays. Smith all set to resume the at-bat with a 2-2 count. And a shot into right field down toward the corner. Souza Jr. kind of overruns that a bit and plays a carom, and it's going to be a double for Seth Smith.
You're absolutely right, Dwayne. I think that Souza Jr. thought maybe that ball was going to end up deeper than it did, and he did run by the landing spot. This ball off the bat looked like it had a chance. And Souza heading back to a point, and right there you see he just overruns it. Ball lands behind him. One hops the wall.
So just like that, Smith is in scoring position. And in a 2-run game, that would put the potential tying run at the plate. And Smith is aboard to lead it off here in the 8th. Joseph takes the pitch down. 1 ball, no strikes. One ball, 1 strike. Ball in for a strike, and it's 1-2. Tejada on deck. This ball outside. 2-2. Swing and a miss. Fastball mile. Could not catch up with that one.
Well, how about a 95-mile-an-hour cutter? I mean, that right there is just filth. You don't have much of a chance. First of all, the velocity, and then that movement. Look at how that movement takes it right to the edge. Side of the baseball, cutting action. I'll tell you, one of the better cutters we've seen from Tommy Hunter all season.
Comes in a good spot. Here's Tejada. Strike one. Kolarek had been up. He's going to sit down now, and Alex Colomé is up and begins to throw. Hunter delivers low, 1-1. Cobb worked the front seven, made 94 pitches through 61 strikes. Gave up a home run to Jonathan Scope in the fourth. A run on 4 hits. Hunter touched for what turned out to be a double here to open the 8th. That's a strike on the corner. It's 1-2.
Two of the toughest pitches that we've seen here in this ball game have come in this inning, and there have been plenty of good pitches made, but the 95-mile-an-hour cutter and that fastball at 97 in a perfect spot puts Tommy Hunter in the catbird seat.
Takes a shot out there, just a little wide. You take that one and hope.
Yeah, because out of the hand, that's a fastball on the outside corner, outer third, with the cutting action, it slides off.
2-2 now. Full count. Breaking ball at 87. One on, one out, 3-2 the count. Foul ball. Followed Faria last night. Jacob Faria worked 7 1/3. Hunter touched for a run in 2/3. Working in the 8th of this game. He's a man at second. Smith opened with the 2-base hit. 3-2 pitch. Skied to center field. Alex Smith is there making the catch. The tag. Seth Smith heads to third. Good 2 outs with a runner at third for the top of the order. Rays pitchers strike out 10 hitters during a game at Tropicana Field. Visit CaneStrikeout.com. Pick up a printed home voucher. Take to any Cane's furniture store within 7 days and receive a coupon for a free Whopper sandwich combo meal from Burger King. Top of the order, Adam Jones. He's grounded to short, line to third, hit a fly ball to center. 5 for 13 in the series, and into this game riding an 8-game hitting streak. He's fouling that first one out of play, taking a big cut.
Well, this is going to be power on power. Adam Jones here, up for the 4th time today. Chance to make a difference. Maybe his last AB of the afternoon. He's going to be cutting it loose. Tommy Hunter, you know, is going to empty the tank.
Fly ball, right field. Souza Jr. there makes the catch. No runs, a hit, and a man left. Bottom of the 8th coming, and the Rays lead 3-1. On Fox Sports Sun, brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Rays have a 3-1 lead on to the bottom of the 8th inning. Zach Britton, the new pitcher for Baltimore. Malik Smith due up, and Peter Borges will pinch hit for him. Just fouls the first one. Pinch a penny pinch hitter.
Well, Baltimore looking to, they bring the big gun in here, looking to put up a 0 and try to make some noise in the top of the 9th inning. This is a move that you very rarely see.
And Borges fouls it, so he's down 2 strikes. He's got a run on the home run off O'Day. Souza Jr.'s homer. 2 runs off Jimenez on a 2-run home run by Longoria. Longoria will hit 3rd in this inning with Dickerson on deck, and then Longoria. Ball, 2 strikes.
You see the movement that he's able to generate with that velocity. You know, most of the time you throw a 96-mile-an-hour fastball and it's going to stay pretty true. There's not enough time for it to really sink. Zach Britton, one of the best sinkers in the game.
2-2.
Maybe the best sinker, power sinker in baseball.
Yeah, the strange thing about it is that it's so hard. I think you'd throw the sink right out of it.
I mean, that's like a 88, 89. Give it time to move like it does, but that's why it's special.
3-2. Dickerson on deck. Just 1 of 4 against Britton, and now 2 of 5 as he chops that one through the left side. So Borges with a pinch hit single.
Well, those 3 takes, and now you're going to force Zach Britton back out over the plate, and that one really doesn't have any sinking action to it, and Borges just finds an opening on that left side. Leadoff man aboard.
You know, Borges, as we mentioned, 2 for 5. That other hit, he came in 1 for 4 off Britton. That hit was a home run. So if you go 2 for 5 against this guy, you've done something.
Well, he pitched him like he hit a home run off him. He got ahead of him 0-2, and then really 3 straight fastballs nowhere near the plate. Has to come back out over, and
there's Corey Dickerson. Want to know? Dickerson with the first inning walk, couple of strikeouts since then. Borges on the move, and the pitch is fouled back. Interesting there on Borges. He had gotten out and taken a lead, and then actually shortened his lead, and then took off as Dickerson fouled it.
Mind games with a left-handed pitcher. He's looking right at you. He sees you inch back just a little bit. He pays you no mind anymore. And then all of a sudden you try to take advantage.
One. Britton pitcher number 3 for Buck Showalter. 6 from Jimenez, 1 from O'Day. Britton working here in the 8th. Chop right side. Scope's going to go to second out there. No chance on the double up. And so Borges retired. 1 out, 1 on. Rays Live, the post game coming up, presented by W.B. Mason. Interested will break out the performance by Alex Cobb. Here from Kevin Cash. And clubhouse interviews, courtesy of Alex Cordry. Evan Longoria. Takes ball 1, a little low. Evan homered in the 6th inning and 5 of 19 against Britton. Home run by Longoria in the 6th came with Smith aboard. Gave the Rays a 2-1 lead. 2-out home run in the 6th.
Got a sinker down and in. Took full advantage up to that point. Ubaldo Jimenez had really not made any mistakes. The walk comes back to haunt him. And then the home run. Souza Jr. would get one off Darren O'Day. We stand at 3-1.
Boxberger joining Colomé. Liner into center. There's a base hit. Dickerson's going to go to third. Backhanded pickup by Jones. Rays will have men at first and third. So Longoria sets up this 2-men-on, 1-out situation with his 3rd hit of the game.
Watch the swing of Evan Longoria going down to get this sinker. He knows what he's doing. Knows that Britton's going to be at the bottom of the zone, anticipating that. He just goes down there to meet it and shoots that ball into center field. Gives the Rays a great scoring chance right here and more breathing room. I'll tell you.
Gives Longoria 6 of 20 against Britton. That's doing something.
Well, he likes the ball down. We saw the uppercut swing on the sinker down and in, and so he can go down and get it. And Zach Britton is one of those guys, you know what you're going to get. Now, it's been a challenge for hitters to consistently put good swings on him and have success, but Evan gets down there and gets underneath that baseball. And his newfound approach here, what he's been doing for the last couple of months and having a ton of success here in the last few weeks, just being super aggressive.
Now Logan Morrison. Ball, no strikes. Morrison 0 for 3 today and 0 for 5 against Britton in his career. Ground ball, that's going to get through. Base hit into right. Dickerson scores. Longoria heads to third. Throw comes through, not in time. And the Rays had a run, making it 4-1. 62nd run batted in for Logan Morrison.
How many times do you see a closer come in a non-safe situation and struggle? Now you see it all the time, and we're seeing it again here. A sinker that really gets away from Britton, stays up and in, and with the runner being held on, Logan Morrison sneaks it right by him. 1 run on the board, and the Rays looking for more.
3-hit inning off Morrison with a run home. 4-1 ball game. Now the Rays will get another right-handed hitter, and Steven Souza Jr. to the plate. This is a strike. Eight hits for the Rays. A little tap. Britton goes back to second out there. First base safe. And that hustle gives the Rays a run as Longoria crosses the plate. Souza Jr. getting down that line to beat the double play attempt. And now the Rays lead 5-1.
Well, if you're Zach Britton, this is a tough call to make, but you've got to be sure you're going to be able to get that double play with the chopping action. Scope does the best job that he can, but Souza Jr. gets out of the box right there. He is sniffing an RBI and not let him get that double play, and he got there in time. That's a difficult read there by Zach Britton. He went for everything and the double play, and it came up short.
Souza picking up his 63rd run batted in. Brad Miller. Souza on the run, and the throw is high. He's in with a stolen base. Souza stealing his way into scoring position.
Well, not even close. A great read, a great jump.
6 of 8 running now this year. And a swing and a miss. The ball popping away from Joseph, and over to third goes Souza. So it's a 5-1 game. Colomé takes a seat in the bullpen, and Boxberger the lone man up now. Here's the pitch.
Boy, you see that instead of trying to backhand that hard sinker, Caleb Joseph tries to get the glove all the way around. That just takes a little bit too much time, and that's why the pass ball.
Boxberger alone in the bullpen. Put up 2 with Souza Jr. at third, and Miller fouling that one just to keep it away from him, stay alive, and it's one of those get off me pitches. And there on Miller.
A backup breaking ball, and those are oftentimes the ones that you end up getting frozen on, but.
He's out on strikes, so the Rays are finished in the 8th inning, but the Rays add a couple and leave 5-1. Well, the Rays trailed 1-0 until the 6th. They got a 2-run home run from Evan Longoria, added another run in the 7th on the Souza homer. 2 more in the 8th against Zach Britton, and they will carry a 5-1 lead into the 9th inning. Peter Borges will stay on to play center field after leading off the 8th, pinch hitting and reaching on a base hit. Borges on in the 9th, and Brad Boxberger makes his 9th appearance of the year.
Looking to close this out for the Rays and give them a series win. A late explosion by the offense. 6th, 7th, and 8th.
First pitch is a strike. That's something different for the Rays. They've done so much of their scoring in the first 5 innings of games this year. Boxberger facing Machado, hits it on the ground to short. Echeverria makes a good throw to first. 1 away. Jonathan Scope. Scope's provided the lone run for Baltimore with a 4th inning home run. Boxberger making his first appearance since Sunday when the Rangers got him. One ball, 1 strike. One. Foul out of play, 2-2. Well, Boxberger, one of the arms the Rays are counting on here in the final 2 months plus of the season out of that bullpen. Back-to-back home runs to Odor and Gomez here Sunday when Texas scored 3 and beat the Rays 6-5. He strikes out Scope. So Boxberger with a ground ball out against Machado and a strikeout of Scope. And he'll face Chris Davis.
Fastball. Actually, this ball meant to be away, but regardless, he ties up Scope. And you see how late that swing was. He's looking for Boxberger's changeup.
Davis takes that pitch for a strike. Opening fastball. Liner into right. There's a base hit. Change up, and Davis is aboard. So that's the 6th hit for Baltimore. Two-out single. That will get Colomé back up in the bullpen. Just now tossing a pitch down there. Trumbo, the DH. It's low, 1-0. In with a strike. Davis heads to second uncontested, and a swing and a miss. move up on indifference by Davis. The Rays an out, need a pitch away from a win, leading 5-1. Going to win another series. The pitch is fouled out of play.
That's been the mantra of this team: win series. They've done a great job of that over the last few months. Had a little bit of a rough patch, and they got swept by Texas and lost the first game of this series. They're on the verge of coming back and then taking it.
1-2. He got it. It's all over, and the Rays are winners. Trumbo strikes out on a fastball, and the Rays win this one today from Baltimore 5-1 and win the series, taking 2 out of 3. Alex Cobb will get his 9th win of the year. He's 9-6, and the Rays win this one 5-1. And the final pitch, a swing and a miss by Trumbo. Back with the totals in a moment.